Hey everybody, welcome to the Infinite Regression. My god, what happened to you, Infinite Regression? Why are you so different looking? What happened? Some sort of update to you? I don't like it. It feels like change for change's sake. Anyway, hey, don't worry about all this, 'cause we have video games. Yes, we do. And today we're playing one called Dreaming Sarah. Dreaming Sarah, an interesting little monkey, if ever there was one, comes to us from Asterisk Game Studio. Music by Anthony Septim, and the music is really good. Congrats to you, Anthony Septim. It's very sort of chill hop, like the lo-fi girl type of music, the chill beats to study in hip hop too. Anyway, yeah, it's like that. It's really good. Um, but yeah, this game, people, Dreaming Sarah, uh, this is a weird little game. It is. So here's the thing about it is that it is a Metroidvania style, but you don't go around killing stuff. As a matter of fact, I played this for a little bit, like not too incredibly much. Like I played it to where I was like, okay, I'm starting to understand this world. I'm getting it. I think I understand what this game is all about. Yeah, that's how much I played it. And so um it's funny because even with as much as I played of it, I still there were things that kept tripping me out about the world and about like because you will go through like pocket dimensions and things into other pocket dimensions and things, and the rules will change, you know. Like all of a sudden you'll be on this little teeny tiny planet and you can run around the whole rim of it like Super Mario Galaxy or The Little Prince, if you're looking for a literary reference, which you should be. Anyway, but yeah, you slide through these pocket dimensions as you're just moving through the overworld. And there was a point where I got so deeply embedded in one of these pocket dimensions that I forgot what the overworld was like. And when I went back into it, I was like, oh, that's right. That's where I was. Except for, and this is the point, this isn't even real. This little girl is in a coma. Sarah, the titular character of this game, is in a coma, and you are playing your way through to helping her not be in a coma anymore. What? Like that's a pretty heavy story. But it's also like it doesn't lean on that too hard. You don't like have all these like remember if you don't get this done, a little girl will slip into death. Like they don't hit you in the face with that, but it like so the fact that you're not running around like stomping Goombas or killing off enemy hordes and collecting diamonds and rings or whatever. Um, yeah, it doesn't need all of that because just the subtle changes to the reality of the game remind you of how deep the world is. So there's a lot here. There's a lot in this little game. I don't know how far it goes. I don't know how long the game is, but I can tell you that what I have played of it was absolutely delightful. For real. Like I think the real moment that you realize that there's a sort of like very comfortableness in this game. The first time, I and that's the only way I can describe it. It's like putting on a nice warm flannel sweatshirt or something. Like it's just very comfortable because you've done platforming games before. You know how they work. This one is very forgiving in the controls and on getting onto ledges and whatnot. Like there are those games where it just feels like, oh, I can't jump on any of these ledges. It's too hard. This one is very much like, no, you can make it. We'll help you out. And that's very comforting and comfortable. Um, and it feels nice. It feels like as you're playing that it is supportive of the way that you are playing, if that makes any sense. I don't know that it does, but trust me. Anyway, and then you start meeting other characters. There aren't very many of them, but no. I shouldn't say there aren't very many. They're pretty spaced out. You don't meet them like bing bang boom, multiples in a row. Uh, there's a lot of wandering around and finding out like those little exclamation marks that you've seen a few of in this gameplay footage. Those indicate things in the world that you can interact with, and you don't know when you hit that button what type of an interaction it's going to be. Are you going to slip sideways through a pocket dimension and all of a sudden you're, on those red falling platforms that you don't know if you're going to die or not? And, because you went through the TV screen, which is like, I don't know, is that a metaphor for something? Should I be paying attention? Should I be changing the way I live my life? Um, so it's an experience, this game. It really is. And it's some of it is kind of hard to put into words. And the fact that they do it with pixels, like with 8-bit pixel art style, it's really impressive. I just was very impressed by this game when I first saw it. It has a very simple logo that looks like, this might not be, that it might be one of those indie games that's like a little too indie, like would have benefited from more people working on this, type of indie game. I've got some of those in my Steam library, to be sure. And so that's why I know. And I was a little worried when I saw like both the name Dreaming Sarah and the logo, which is just like a purple eyeball. You look at it and you're like, I don't know if this is going to be good. I have no idea, something like, because those eyeballs appear in the game, and when you see them in the game, you're like, oh, that's kind of creepy, but in a cool way. Um, and so, like, you get it when you see it in the game, but as a logo from an outsider's perspective, it's terrible. So I don't know what to do about that. Uh, so yeah, I'll be honest with you. It has happened many times that the developer of a uh, very small indie studio game might actually contact me and be like, "Hey, I saw your review," you know, because it happens. It does happen. It's happened to me multiple times. And so, yeah, I would love it if the people who made this game heard me talking about this, because, like, kudos to you guys, whoever you are, because you created an experience as much as you created a game. And that is really cool, because that's the thing about video games, is that the really good ones, the really good ones, you feel like, oh, I was there. Like it doesn't matter how like intense the graphics are or whatever. It's about the way that it feels and the way that it tells a story that you feel comfortable in, you know? And so like this game, that's what it is. It's a different experience of a different type of thing than you have ever seen before. And so like I don't know. Like it I feel like I'm not selling it very well on what it is because it's hard to describe what it is. It's a metroidvania platformer with like multiple inlaid pocket dimensions um that are all part of the subconscious of a little girl trapped in a coma. Is that clear? I don't know if that's going to make sense to anybody. Like and maybe that's why maybe that's why I don't know how much love this game gets. Like I know that the people who have played it love it, but I don't know how many copies they've sold because like I know what it looks like from the outside and I look at it and I'm like, do I want this? It doesn't look like the things that I want, you know, when I'm shopping for games. But then here I am playing it and I'm like, oh my God, this is fun. Like, this is really enjoyable. And even though I'm not, you know, stomping Goombas and gathering Triforce pieces and whatnot, like, I'm still enjoying the little world of this game. And yeah, it's just delightful. So, anyway, let me put a final score on it. You will not be surprised by it, but I'll give it a final score. So, final score for Dreaming Sarah. What do we go? We go a 5 out of a possible 6. Issue number 128 of Strange Tales. Little Doctor Strange. Pocket Dimension. Hey, right? Huh? Yeah, probably. Anyway, I'm gonna be honest with you. Doctor Strange has Doctor Strange is my father's favorite comic book character of all time, and like my father and I have bonded over the fact that like you know during a time when our relationship was somewhat strained, we bonded over the fact that we both love like mid 1960s Marvel comics. And because he was reading them when they were new, and I was reading them as the first comics that I really got into. So, like, so it was the first that we really got into for both of us. And so, like, we bonded over that, and we love a lot of the same comics, but, like, he admits his absolute favorite of all time is Doctor Strange, and I will be honest with you, it's not my favorite because I don't feel like the magic in that world as it existed in the early days was defined well enough. And so I never knew what the stakes were in any issue of, you know, Strange Tales or the Doctor Strange series. Like, I never knew what the stakes were because I was like, well, I don't know what the rules of this magical world are. Can't he just, like, you know, create two pocket dimensions, put his own hand into his own back pocket and, you know, solve the whole thing right there? I mean, I never knew what was possible and what wasn't. So that's my problem. And speaking of problems, why did I withhold one issue from from this game here, this Dreaming Sarah? Why did I withhold one? Well, I'll be honest with you. Like, I really, really enjoyed this game, but also, if I'm being perfectly honest, and this feels sad to say this, but there were moments where I really wish there was a Goomba to squash, you know? Like, I'm doing a lot of wandering in this game. I'm doing a lot of walking, and I don't feel like particularly contemplative, even though the music is good. The fact that I have to walk like 6 screens to the left to get back to where I was now that I've picked up the thing that I needed to pick up over, 4 screens to the right. Yeah. It a little bit I was like, oh, just give me one Goomba. Like, so, take it as it is. It's a really good game, though. Really good, very interesting experience, and highly recommended. So, should you pick this one up? Sure. Yeah, totally. Anyway, recommended. Uh, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here for this one. I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.